Crying days arrive without knocking. They sit beside me like tired shadows. Morning opens its eyes in silence, and I wake with a heart already heavy. The sun rises, but it feels distant, as if it belongs to another life. Every breath carries an old ache. Every thought drips with quiet sorrow. Crying days teach the clock to move slowly, seconds limp instead of running. Walls listen to my unspoken words. Floors remember the weight of my steps. I speak to mirrors with broken smiles, asking questions I already know. The answer is always a sigh. The answer is always yesterday. Crying days wear familiar faces. They look like memories in disguise. Laughter once lived in these hours. Now echoes replace its warmth. I trace old joys with trembling fingers, as if they might breathe again. But time has sealed them in dust, and hope sleeps under layers of pain. Crying days fall like endless rain, not loud storms, just steady drops. Each tear writes a silent sentence. Each sob becomes a hidden prayer. The sky feels closer to my chest, heavy with unshared grief. Even the wind sounds tired, carrying stories of lost dreams. Crying days teach me the language of absence, how to feel what is no longer there. A chair stays empty with dignity. A name lingers without sound. I set the table for memories, serve them regret and longing. They sit quietly, judging nothing, because they already know my heart. Crying days blur the line of time. Yesterday bleeds into today. Tomorrow stands far away, watching me without promise. I walk through hours like ruins, stepping over pieces of myself. Some parts still whisper courage, others lie still, afraid to rise. Crying days love the night deeply. Darkness understands them best. Stars look like distant wounds, shining but unreachable. I talk to the moon like an old friend, telling it secrets I hide from daylight. It listens without interrupting, its silence kinder than advice. Crying days carry the weight of words that were never spoken aloud. I'm sorry lives in my chest, so does stay and don't go. These words build walls inside me, separating heart from peace. I knock on them with tired fists, hoping one day they will fall. Crying days remind me of fragile promises, how easily they break. Once, tomorrow was bright. Now it flickers like a weak flame. I guard it with shaking hands, afraid even hope might hurt me. Yet I keep it alive somehow because surrender feels worse. Crying days turn music into memories. Every song opens an old wound. Melodies walk through my past, calling names I cannot answer. I listen until my chest tightens, until tears find their way home. Then I sit with the pain quietly, as if it were a loyal companion. Crying days are not always loud. Sometimes they whisper gently. They say, "Rest, you are tired." And I finally listen. In stillness, pain becomes softer, not gone, but less sharp. I learn that surviving is also strength, even when nothing feels victorious. Crying days teach patience to sorrow, how to wait without hope. They stretch moments like thin threads, testing how much I can endure. And yet, I remain standing, even when my soul bends. Maybe that is the quiet miracle, that I am still here at all. Crying days leave marks on the heart, invisible but permanent. They carve depth into feelings, make empathy grow quietly. I recognize pain in others now, see it hiding behind smiles. And I wish them gentler mornings, even if mine remain heavy. Crying days eventually grow tired too. They cannot last forever. Even sorrow needs rest. Even grief loosens its grip. One day, a softer light appears, not happiness, but calm. And I learn to breathe again, slowly, carefully, honestly. Crying days do not define my end. They are chapters, not the book. They teach me the cost of loving and the courage of continuing. Though tears stain many pages, they also water unseen roots. And somewhere beneath this pain, a quieter strength is growing. Crying days return with familiar footsteps, soft but unavoidable. They sit on the edge of my bed, asking nothing, taking everything. I stare at the ceiling like a lost map, searching for directions I once knew. Every crack becomes a question. every shadow a reminder of loss. Crying days teach my eyes new habits, how to look without seeing. Faces pass like unfinished stories, voices blur into distant noise. I nod, I smile when required, but my heart stays elsewhere. It wanders through broken hours, collecting fragments of forgotten warmth. Crying days turn mornings into battles, fighting the urge to stay asleep. Dreams feel kinder than waking even when they hurt. At least in dreams, I feel something whole, even if it breaks again at dawn. Reality waits with open hands, empty, demanding, cold. Crying days make coffee taste like memory, bitter and honest. Every sip reminds me of nights when laughter lived freely. Now silence sits across the table, staring without blinking. I drink slowly, respecting the pain, as if rushing might anger it. Crying days fold themselves into routine, becoming part of who I am. I carry them like invisible scars, hidden beneath ordinary clothes. No one asks about their weight, no one sees their depth. And maybe that is mercy, or maybe it is loneliness in disguise. Crying days sharpen the past, make it clearer than the present. I remember small things vividly. A smile, a pause, a gentle tone. These details return uninvited, stronger than any future plan. They remind me how deeply I felt, and how deeply I still do. Crying days teach me restraint, how not to fall apart in public. I learn the art of holding tears, balancing grief behind my eyes. Sometimes one escapes quietly, sliding down without permission. I wipe it away like a secret, afraid of what it might reveal. Crying days sit beside unanswered questions, feeding on uncertainty. What if becomes a constant companion, whispering late into the night? I try to silence it with reason, but emotion refuses logic. The heart keeps replaying moments, searching for alternate endings. Crying days stretch nights endlessly, sleep arrives reluctantly. I lie awake listening to my thoughts, each one heavier than the last. The dark feels crowded with feelings, yet painfully empty. I turn from side to side, trying to escape myself. Crying days carve poetry into silence, even when I do not write. Pain arranges words in my chest. Lines form with every breath. If sorrow had a voice, it would sound like this: soft, tired, honest, unwilling to pretend anymore. Crying days make me kinder to rain, it understands falling. I watch it trace the windows, each drop racing another downward. They do not resist gravity, they surrender gracefully. I wonder if letting go can also be a kind of strength. Crying days blur joy and sorrow together. I no longer trust either fully. Happiness feels fragile now, like glass in trembling hands. I admire it from a distance, afraid of how easily it shatters. Still, I want it again someday, even knowing the risk. Crying days remind me that love existed, and that is why this hurts. Pain is proof of connection, evidence of something real. If I had never cared, these days would not exist. So I endure them quietly, honoring what once mattered. Crying days teach me to speak inward, to listen to my own voice. It is softer now, but wiser, shaped by endurance. It tells me I am not broken, only bruised by time. Promises healing is slow, but possible even for me. Crying days sometimes loosen their grip, just for a moment. In those moments, I breathe deeper, feel lighter without knowing why. The pain does not disappear, it simply steps back. And I learn that relief can exist, even between waves of sorrow. Crying days are not my enemy, they are my teachers. They strip me down to truth, remove everything unnecessary. What remains is fragile but real, a heart that still feels. And maybe that is enough for now, to feel even through tears. Crying days continue to walk with me, but I am learning their rhythm. I no longer fight every tear, no longer fear every ache. Some days, I let them pass freely, like clouds across a tired sky. I trust that beyond them, there is still room for light. Crying days wake before I do, already waiting in the corners of the room. They stretch their long shadows across the floor, reminding me that escape is temporary. I rise slowly, carrying yesterday inside me, wearing its weight like a second skin. The mirror shows familiar tired eyes, eyes that have learned too much too soon. Crying days teach silence new meanings. Not all quiet is peace. Some silences scream internally, filled with thoughts that never rest. I sit among them, unmoving, listening to what cannot be said. Words feel small against such depth, yet they are all I have. Crying days make time feel dishonest. Hours promise to pass, but linger. I watch the clock change numbers, yet nothing inside me moves. Moments pile up like unanswered letters, each one heavier than the last. I wonder how the world keeps spinning, while I remain paused in grief. Crying days soften my voice. Even my laughter sounds cautious. I fear being too loud with emotions, afraid they might overflow. So I speak gently, carefully, as if walking on cracked glass. Every feeling is measured now, every reaction restrained by memory. Crying days carry the scent of longing, a perfume I never chose. It clings to my thoughts, follows me into every room. No matter how far I walk, it stays just behind my breath. Longing does not ask permission. It simply exists, persistent and loyal. Crying days sit beside old photographs, studying them like sacred texts. I touch faces frozen in time, smiles that no longer reach me. Once, these moments felt endless. Now they are relics of another self. I mourn not only what I lost, but who I was when I had it. Crying days rewrite the meaning of strength. It no longer looks like victory. Strength now is getting up again, despite the ache in my chest. It is answering life with presence, even when enthusiasm is gone. It is choosing not to disappear, even when hiding feels easier. Crying days blur the borders of identity. I ask myself who I am now. Am I the one before the pain or the one shaped by it? Perhaps I am both, stitched together by endurance. Perhaps becoming is not a loss, but a painful kind of growth. Crying days teach me to wait, not for miracles, but for calm. I stop demanding happiness, stop bargaining with fate. Instead, I ask for steadiness, for moments that do not collapse. Even neutrality feels like relief when chaos has lived too long. Crying days bring unexpected wisdom, earned through sleepless nights. They show me how fragile control is, how little we truly command. They humble my expectations, teach surrender without defeat. I learn that some battles are survived, not won, and that is enough. Crying days have their own seasons, some colder than others. There are days the pain feels sharp, like fresh wounds reopening. Other days, it dulls into an ache, manageable, familiar. I mark time by intensity now, not by calendars or dates. Crying days make me gentler with myself, in ways I never was before. I forgive slow progress, accept heavy pauses. I no longer shame my sadness. I sit with it respectfully. If healing is a journey, then patience must be my companion. Crying days quietly build resilience, even when I cannot feel it. Like roots growing underground, strength forms in unseen places. I may feel weak on the surface, but something holds me steady. Maybe pain is not only destruction, maybe it is also foundation. Crying days remind me that I survived, every single one so far. Even the darkest hours passed, even when I doubted they would. This realization arrives softly, without celebration or pride. Just a simple truth settles in. I am still here, breathing. Crying days do not ask for applause, they ask for endurance. They teach me to exist honestly, without false smiles or masks. And in this raw existence, I discover a quiet dignity. There is honor in continuing, even when the heart is tired. Crying days still walk beside me, but they no longer define every step. Sometimes I lead, sometimes they follow. And though the road remains uncertain, I move forward anyway. Not because I am fearless, but because I refuse to stop. Crying days return disguised as normal hours, blending into routines without warning. I walk through streets that know my footsteps, yet I feel like a stranger passing through. People move with purpose around me, their lives unfolding without pause. I wonder how many of them carry storms, hidden beneath practiced calm. Crying days sit quietly in my chest. They no longer shout as before. Their presence is steady, constant, like a low ache that never leaves. I have learned to function beside them, to breathe around their weight. Pain becomes part of my rhythm, not welcome, but familiar. Crying days teach me the cost of attachment, how deeply bonds can mark the soul. When love leaves, it does not vanish. It transforms into absence. That absence fills rooms and thoughts, crowding even the quiet moments. I carry it carefully now, aware of how easily it spills. Crying days make me cautious with trust, even with my own heart. I guard feelings like fragile glass, afraid of another shatter. Still, the heart insists on beating, on hoping in its own small ways. I let it reluctantly because denying it feels like dying. Crying days slow my steps intentionally. They refuse to let me rush healing. Every attempt to hurry forward ends with exhaustion. So I walk slowly instead, one manageable moment at a time. Progress is no longer measured in leaps, but in survival. Crying days turn solitude into reflection. Not all loneliness is empty.